Welcome to Cooking with Dragons. My name is Rourke. Today I'm starting with the prep. Today I am making spaghetti alla cecina. Spaghetti alla cecina. Hopefully I'm saying that right. That means spaghetti assassin. I'm gonna murder some spaghetti, I guess. But yeah. So this recipe is actually really simple. You just need a couple of cloves of garlic, and preferably a red pepper, but it's actually really hard to find a red pepper, so I'm actually going to go with a couple of serranos. That should be good enough, but preferably this recipe calls for red peppers, but preferably the recipe calls for red chilies, but where I'm at it's kind of hard to get red peppers, so serrano peppers are the best I can get right now, so that's what I'm going with. Then you just need, this is a 28 ounce can of tomato sauce. You need some spaghetti. And you need some tomato paste. 1/4 of a cup of tomato paste. Yeah, that's a lot of tomato paste. And we're also going to be using some pepper, some olive oil. That we're actually going to be using a good bit of olive oil in this. This is get an olive oil that you like and one that you know will work well with this. But I'm going with Neva Ulta. I got a new bottle because it's pretty good stuff. And it complements peppers pretty well, I think. Yeah. All right. Let's get started. And I have the sheath on this time. So, I'm just going to start by peeling the garlic really quick. And I have the water boiling already, so I'm doing something. I'm speeding up the process a little bit. Got one peeled. So, yeah, so I know it's been a minute since I made a video, but you know, been busy. Haven't been feeling that great, so just just been kind of taking care of myself a little bit. But, still cooking, so doing something right. I'm just gonna trim down a little bit. And just mince it up. But yeah, this recipe is on YouTube a lot, but I'm just making it just to kind of have something to put on the channel, and it's actually pretty fun to make. Really, it's actually really easy to make. Like it's just a little bit of prep work and then a few ingredients, and yeah, and it takes just about 20 minutes or so to make. Yeah, some napkins here. Ready? Doesn't really take much effort to mince the garlic, just a little bit of cutting, chopping. Gonna take a nice size, couple of nice sized ones. Pretty big one. Here also give it a little bit of color too, instead of using like a red one. So instead of being purely red, you can put a little bit of green in there too. So it works. Roll it up, get the peppers, get the juices flowing. And I washed these before, so I was like, yeah. I think I hear the boiling water ready to go, so as soon as I'm done with this, I'll be good to go. Definitely make sure you wash your hands after handling one of these peppers too, because that can be a not so fun experience if you're not careful. Especially when you start getting into like the ghost peppers and the habaneros, like you definitely want to be wearing gloves for these. And serranos are 5 to 10 times hotter than a jalapeno, so I'm doing my best to keep some heat in there at least. But you can use red serranos if you can get those, but like I said, it's not quite so easy to get not quite so easy to get red peppers up here. So this is the next best thing. And I love how these things fragrant the room. Especially, it especially smells good whenever you're dehydrating these. So, like the whole night, it'll smell like peppers. So that's pretty good, I think. One more. All right, the part that comes next. This is something you kind of want to do in order, so that way it's ready to go. So now you want to get your water to you want to get the water to boiling. Then so you need 1/4 of a cup. Alright, now we need 3/4 of a cup of olive oil. This will take a minute. Get yourself a good bottle of olive oil when you're making this, because you'll need a lot of it. Alright, put that up for a minute. Okay, I'm just doing this so I have it ready. So, basically with this, now you just turn this to sort of like a broth, so pour that right in there. And I'm using a knife to scoop it in there, but you know, I still have to wash it, you know. And hey, it'll give the tomato paste a little bit of a kick from that pepper, so. Alright. Throw that in there. And once that starts to kind of boil, then you turn off the heat, and then you just kind of leave it there from when you need it. But make sure that tomato paste is well incorporated. And I know I'm a lot different from other cooking shows where they're always facing the camera, but I'm not quite that fancy yet. But you know. All right. And of course, I'm going to be making the spaghetti in this cast iron skillet. So that's what I like to cook it. All right. So now it's bubbling. Turn off the heat. Just cover that. That way it's ready to go. And then once that comes to a simmer, I'm going to add the peppers and garlic to it. And then I'm going to add the tomato sauce to it. And then, I'm going to add the noodles to it. Uncooked. That's the cool thing about it. Is you're not boiling the spaghetti first. You're just throwing it all to a pan. You're all pretty much throwing everything into one pan and using another pan to kind of, as a deglazer, I guess. Kitchen term. Also a good amount of salt. Alright. Salt is another thing you really want for this dish. Yeah, salt is something else you really want. Alright. Yeah, so you want that to kind of shimmer. And then, okay. Right, looks like it's doing good. Here we go. Alright. And then you just cook this out until it's fragrant. Spread it out. I'm also kind of making a well in the center so that way you can kind of have something to lay on. Because you want these noodles to be in there as flat as possible. So, like I said, hopefully this is a big enough pan. Because, yeah. Alright. Smells really good. I enjoy dishes like this because it's spicy, it's fragrant, and it gives you something to eat for the next few days too. Like, so, yeah. Yeah, I haven't been making videos as much as I could, as much as I would like to. You know, I'm always working, so. I usually try to do something on Tuesday or Wednesday, because that's usually when I'm a bit available. But yeah. Okay. Turn it down. Another cool thing about this dish is it's also vegan, incidentally. Alright. Yeah, there we go. Just kind of press it in there. Yeah, it fit just right. But alright. Kind of paste that over. Alright. And now we just let that cook. And then at a certain point we're going to flip it. So it's a good idea to have a pair of tongs on hand just to kind of help guide the spaghetti because it does make quite a bit of a mess because it splatters a little bit. But so using tongs and that to flip it will make it easier hopefully. Alrighty. And then once that renders out, we're going to ladle in the tomato broth that we made. Yeah, should be good. A little bit of black pepper at this part too. I like pepper. So once it starts to look dry, that's when you want to add the ladles into it. Yeah. I'm glad it was able to fit into this cast iron skillet because I did have another pan that I could use, but I like cooking in cast iron. So yeah. Spaghetti alla cecina basically means killer spaghetti. There's a lot of legends to that. There's a lot of legends to how it came to be. Like it was said that there was a drunk cook that was not paying attention and You just threw the noodles in there raw, and you saved it, making a tomato broth, and then that's how we got spaghetti alla cecina. That's one thing. That's one myth I've heard, or one. That's one legend I've heard. So yeah, it is pretty unique that you're just letting the broth cook through it pretty much, and then you're just burning it. You are burning it, so there's gonna be a good bit of char on it, especially because it's cast iron. Cast iron char tastes pretty good, I think. Especially if you go ahead and add a bit of broth. Alright. Then you just let it simmer. Then you just let it render out the second time, and then you flip it. Then you add more broth, and then. Alright, so my technique for flipping this, pretty much. Ooh, that is good. Oh yeah, there we go. Alright. Yeah. So basically, you'll know when it's done. Just just keep an eye on it, and when it's charred to your liking, or you used up all the broth, whichever comes first, you'll know that's when it's done to me anyway. I made this once before just to see if I could make it. Well, kind of, this is my second attempt. This is my second time making it, so I'm a little more prepared this time than I was the last time. So. But I'm not a professional cook or anything. I've worked at various food restaurants and stuff like that, but I've had like a couple weeks of culinary training, something like that, but nothing too major. But I just enjoy cooking stuff up, and somebody told me that I make good stuff, and they said I should put it online, so this is why I'm doing it. Something to do. You'll see it when it turns dry. That's when it's that's when it's time to add more broth. Just kind of evenly ladle it over there if you can. A couple of spoonfuls at a time seems to be a good idea. But this also isn't my recipe, so I'm just like, I should probably mention that, but don't need to mention. Well, yeah. You can garnish it with some burrata, so that's an option. I like to garnish it with just the red chili flakes, because yeah, that's. So, like I said, you just repeat the process until you're either out of the broth or it's done to your liking, and then and it's tender enough for your liking. That's usually what you go for. I'll come back in a minute. And I'm back. Like I said, it's just a matter of running out of broth or it being cooked to your liking. But it's getting pretty tender right now. Yeah, it's getting there. Yeah, it's coming together nicely. Definitely a lot easier to bring the camera to the pan than the pan to the camera. Yeah, it gets a nice char on it, and it makes it nice and tender at the same time. It's a pretty neat, pretty nice texture, I think, and has a good bit of heat to it. If you wanted to make a milder version, you could probably just use a red bell pepper, and then you can still at least stick with the red pepper. But like I said, the spicy red peppers aren't that easy to get here if they're not pickled or in adobo sauce or something like that. But yeah. I like using the fresh stuff if I can get fresh serranos, I'll use fresh serranos. But at least do that. All right. Yeah. The neat thing about this is it's meatless, pretty much. But you could probably add meats to it if you wanted to, like maybe some sausage or something like that. But as simple as it goes, it is a meatless dish. Alrighty. And once that broth is pretty much out, then you just you can let it cook to however long you want it. You just render it out as much as you want, and then you just pour it up and put it in a bowl or put it on a plate. And just enjoy. You could probably give it some kind of Parmesan cheese if you wanted to, but anyway. Yeah, you definitely want to have a pan that's big enough to handle it. 12 inch cast iron was just big enough. Yeah. As I'm tasting it does have a good bit of heat to it, and it's getting nice and tender. The longer it cooks, the more tender it gets. So just kind of got to keep an eye on it at the last stages of it. So if you don't want to burn it too much, you don't have to. But I like a bit of that cast iron char. It tastes pretty good to me, I think. You could probably pair it with some nice Texas toast or cheese bread, garlic cheese toast or something like that. That could be a good side for it as well. Maybe a side salad. Alright, and that should be all she wrote. Alright, get it nice and caramelized. We got it nicely. Then we'll go ahead and plate it up and I'll see you at the table. Alright, so here we have spaghetti alla Cecina. You just need 2 pans for it. And a little bit of prep work. Yeah. It smells really good. It smells really fragrant. It's nicely caramelized. Has some nice char in there, and of course I added some red pepper flakes just to give it just a touch more heat, and then yeah. If you can get a red chili with it for it, do it. Either way, a little bit of spice is nice if you can take it. It works though. It has a nice lingering warm heat. The noodles are nice and tender, and there's also a bit of texture to it as well from the char. You see some nice green. It's from the serrano pepper, but that's probably why it's good to use reds. That way, like you don't always see the red one coming, but you can see red. But yeah, red. You don't always see the green ones coming either, so it's just yeah, works out pretty good. All right, spaghetti alla Cecina. Check it out. Assassin. Check it out. Thank you for watching. My name is Work, Cooking with Dragons. We are exploring the world of food. See you next time and keep on.